Hey everybody, happy International Coffee Day. I put together a special recording, a little cupping and a discussion, 10 minutes. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for all of the growers, producers, traders, roasters, baristas. All of you make our community so beautiful and wonderful. Enjoy great coffee and enjoy the community. Much love. Hey everyone, great to see you again. Adam, Francis.
Yep. Hey, Jamii Coffee, Francis here with Adam with ROCC.
Yeah, I hope you know me. If not, welcome. So what we just did here, we actually have some beautiful, fresh Mukarimu, Kenya coffees here on the table we were just cupping. We'll probably talk about the coffees just real briefly. I want to talk about what we did was we have a AA, AB, C, and PB from the same farm, same harvest. And we got to see the differences that sizing grading makes for our Kenyan coffees in this specific instance. But then Francis is going to tell us about some of the exciting things happening at Mukarimu and bringing in new coffees, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, thanks, Adam. So this is, as Adam mentioned, it's all coffee from the same farm, same farmer. From the Meru region. If you're not aware where the Meru region is, it's on the eastern side of Mount Kenya, and their season is right now. So this is when the season comes out. It's different from the central season because the coffee arrives here around February, March. So that's when these coffees will be arriving. We've been working with Mukarimu for almost 3 years now.
Yeah.
We started together with a common purpose to be able to bring his coffee to the US, and over the years we've been bringing his coffee. So for the last 2 years we've been bringing his coffee, and we're excited about this lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll put some links down in the description or the email that this comes out through. So Mukarimu is it's a cool family story, and we've introduced that before. I'll see if we can pull up that video.
Yeah.
But you can introduce the farm to us, and these are 4 washed coffees. Really exciting what's happened in just a short amount of time of this partnership and the development. So if you want to share a little about Mukarimu or the project there and what makes these coffees special, and then I'll probably just wrap up at the end talking about the different grades in our cupping.
All right, so Mukarimu actually, it's the farm itself, but the owner is Charles Mutweri, and the farm is named after his great-grandfather, grandfather, and himself.
4 generations.
So 4 generations. So
Mukarimu.
Yeah. So 4 generations with this coffee. Charles actually started farming coffee in 1979. His dad gave him a coffee farm, but he didn't want him to get into coffee because he didn't think coffee was something that he should. So actually he gave him the first coffee farm, and coffee trees were like 150 in a rocky area.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like his dad really wanted to discourage him
Good luck.
from growing coffee, but I think he really underestimated what Charles is capable of and his resilience. So over time, Charles has accumulated, at least I think he has 40 acres now of coffee.
Wow.
And
do you know how many trees?
40 acres, that'll be approximately around 30,000 trees.
Okay.
Yeah, so 30,000 trees. He has also helped a lot of other farmers actually grow coffee. And Charles, if he would say it himself, he has never been employed by anybody. He's always worked in coffee, and that's what he knows. So everything that he has comes from coffee, and he's a well-to-do man, and he succeeded with coffee. So and he's sharing that knowledge with other farmers. So he's not just a coffee farmer. Right. So we connected with Charles in 2018-19. We were doing a project there with Thura Women Coffee, which he actually helped establish. So that's how we connected with him. And then from there, he brought in his coffees. We didn't even know what was happening with these coffees. The first time we didn't even like them. But it was a beginning of a relationship. And we taught him, actually together, we were able actually to encourage him to do better.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is a very impromptu filming. We were just cupping, and I said, "Hey, let's do a film." So you said a very short time. When was that, and what kind of advancements have you seen in the last how many years? So just as a perspective, because this Mukarimu project is an exciting new, I guess, the iterations in the development, right?
Yeah.
With that farm.
Yeah, so it was
Big strides.
Yeah, it was simple things. When we first met, we realized the ways he was fermenting was wrong. So, and he's been fermenting for all the years. He's a really great farmer. When you go to his farms, the cherries are beautiful. You can see it on our website.
This is nothing against him. This is more of like you being here in the States and him and how well you communicated and like your feedback loop so that he could take what we were cupping here and actually apply it at the farm.
Apply it at the farm. So he wasn't doing anything wrong. We just needed to be able to calibrate for him.
Right.
And
what are the roasters saying? What are the clients saying?
Oh,
right.
I've received.
I mean, that's the feedback.
That's a feedback that we are sending. What do people want? What relationships are people looking for? And for us, it was simple things, which was interesting. Like after we get the feedback, we take it back, and then we realize they are simple things. Like fix the drying bed, because some of the drying beds, they sag a little bit, and if a drying bed sags, that means it's not drying well because you do the stuff. So that's the simple things, like harvesting. How do you harvest? How do you make sure that the people harvesting for you are doing the right thing? So we calibrated all that, and that's why the change came very fast, because it wasn't even on the farm level. Another beautiful thing is Charles also is very conscious about the environment. So he doesn't use fertilizer. Actually, he uses manure, and there's some stone that he gets from Tanzania that's actually ground, and then he puts it on the on the farm, and actually that eliminates his need for fertilizer.
Wow.
Yeah. So those are some of the things he has taught himself. Those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not us, because he's a great, as I said, he's an amazing farmer. So all we needed was like, how do we now intervene for the processing and the feedback from the market?
Yeah, and that was, I mean, just 2-3 years ago, I had my first Mukarimu. I feel like it was during COVID or around about that time. And, there was like a lot that was promising and there were good flavors, but then there was just this inconsistency. Like sometimes, like on our table we have AA, AB, C, and PB. And there might be an inconsistency in the AA, but the AB and the PB were drinking great. And so it was just those small things where they were able to look at the beds, or they were able to think about the fermentation and quickly kind of do the feedback loop.
Yes.
So these coffees today were gorgeous. And these were harvested when?
They got harvested June to actually the last harvest came up at the beginning of September.
Wow.
So this is really fresh coffee. It's just like we dry milled it and sent it over.
Right, because today is the end of September, so this is like a few months. We just send it over.
Yeah.
And I could feel the freshness a little bit in, I think it was the AA. There was a little astringency, kind of that freshness in the beginning when I started drinking it, but the others didn't show that. I could definitely see it in the roasting. I had a really hard time with the crash. And, like Kenyan coffees love to crash, but when you have a fresh Kenyan, it's just like nosedive. So I'm really glad the way these did come out. I was concerned about the roasting, the way I had to control it. But just real quick, so interesting comments about the AA, AB, C, and PB. So these are different sizing and density measures that Kenya uses for their grading. And so you'll hear some coffees are graded according to, quality or density or defect count. Kenyan coffee incorporates that, but it uses the size as the first and primary indicator. And so AA is the larger bean, just like it would be comparable to a Columbia Supremo. Now the AB is going to be slightly smaller, or kind of a blend of larger and smaller beans. The C is going to be even smaller, and then the PB is a pea berry, so that's going to be a very small or round single pea berry type bean. So on the table, just going around real quickly, what I saw was an incredible acidity on the AA, just like screaming kind of tart cherry, lime, green apple, white grape, like a sour white grape, just really, really tart. But there was this full flavor of cherries and chocolate, and it was balanced within that acidity pretty well. not perfectly, but pretty well. So it's super high. I would love this as a single origin coffee. If I just want to like blow someone's socks off with an aromatic coffee that punches you in the face in a really good way, I would choose this coffee. The AB was kind of a more subdued and a more rounded approach, and so a lot of the tartness that was here became like berries and more strawberry. It was more balanced. The chocolatey notes kind of came out a little more in the AB, and I felt like the body even was just a little, maybe it was easier to recognize, maybe the body was very similar, but the mouthfeel was more comfortable too, just with that more balanced acidity. And so cherry, chocolate, berry. I typically love your AB coffees. There's something I always love the ABs. And then the C was like a beautiful, so I scored the AA somewhere around like 86 and a half. The AB was more like 87 and a half. It just had like some more balance and some more characteristics that rounded it for a higher score. So 86, 87. The C was noticeably different. It just had more earthy tones. Its body was a little lower. It had less of a lingering sweetness in the aftertaste. It was still a sweet coffee. The acidity kind of came down even further, whereas the AB was a balanced, nice acidity. The C was like getting lower, simplistic in the acidity. And so that was like a perfect specialty 83-point coffee. You know, like I would trade that out for a Colombian. I might not know the difference between the two. If you gave me a really nice Colombia and this Mukarimu C grade, C sizing. And then the PB for me kind of came back up again. It was more like an 85. And it had like a lime-like sweetness, acidity, kind of a simple lemon lime acidity, but really nice with the sweetness. Just drinks easy. If I had to choose between the PB and the AA, the AA is like a wow screaming coffee. The PB is like, I could drink a couple cups of this, or, you know, like, I'm not going to be burning my taste buds if I drink 2 or 3 cups of this PB. And so you get those chocolatey notes, but the PB falls sometimes on body. And that's just because of the size of the bean, you know, the density, just different aspects in the way it grows. PB struggles to have the same body that you'll find in an AB or an AA. So fantastic coffees, really, really nice. I think last year, or maybe last harvest, that would have been on the central west side.
Yeah.
The coffees struggled more with weather or drought or dry conditions. These are not representative of that. Like, these coffees are stellar. Just what I want from my Kenyan selection.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and we're excited about this. Something else I also wanted to mention was we are bringing, this is the first year in 2024, so these coffees are going to arrive here in 2024 in the US. And this is the first time
what
we
time?
are early around February, March. If we're able to move them faster, maybe the end of January.
Yep.
But this is the first time we are having like the farmer actually getting a portion of what the roaster pays.
Right.
So a percentage of what you pay FOB at the warehouse goes directly to the farmer. And that is something that we developed with Charles. It started last year, and it like we talked about it last year because Charles told me something very interesting. He said, I have the coffee. You import coffee. Why can't we have my coffee there? And then you sell it, because I don't want to hold it. Because in Kenya, where you have the auction system, it's almost like playing roulette.
Right.
This week, there's this price. Next week, you don't know. So are you going to sell your coffee at a price today or tomorrow? So we wanted to fix that whole system. And the only way to fix it is to be able to bring the coffees here. And I know it's going to be a pain point with Charles, and we talked about it.
Yeah.
But it's a sacrifice we are willing to do, is to be able to actually delay the payment a little bit longer for him when he receives his payment.
Right.
But he's able to benefit more without the up and down with the pricing. And actually, he's very much excited about this. He's the one who brought it up, and for me, I was a willing player because that's something I wanted to do.
Right.
And also, it brings the farmer to the cupping table.
Right.
So it brings the farmer to the trading table right here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you're buying, the roaster is also knowing that this is where my money is going, and this is actually how much of my money is going directly to the farmer. And we'll be coming more on that specifics of how much the percentages look like. We'll be coming more with it with if you subscribe to us or send us an email, we're gonna be sending out a newsletter with exactly how we're doing to that, and that's the transparency we want to bring. We want to bring to the table. It has been a lot of time coming, but we managed to get it. So, yeah, I'm excited about this, and you're calling it farmer to roaster.
Farmer to roaster.
Yeah, F2R.
F2R.
Yeah, F2R.
I like that.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting. You made a comment earlier that I want to put in context of what you just shared. That collaborative approach, growing coffee and shipping it across the world. I mean, anything that has that long of a value chain is risky. When you said Charles is well-to-do and he's established, he supports a large community of growers and producers, and he oversees a large operation. But so what he's saying is, I don't want to just run it to auction and then goodbye coffee, I hope you find a nice home. He says, I want to be involved a little further into this value chain and supply chain. So he's going to bear some risk. And then the collaborative approach in the sales, he's going to receive some of the reward, the sale, and more of a profit sharing. Because he's bearing some of the risk, that means he's going to benefit in some new ways. But it also means that you are able to bring a little more, and you're able to shift your risk a little further or in a larger capacity, so that we can equip more large and small roasters with great coffees. And so that's kind of that collaborative approach, and Mukarimu has always had that from the start. I know that's always been your heart. So when those coffees are available, I mean, maybe I can get a bag or two and open them up, and we can do like some small bags. Definitely we're going to link so that they can find you and consider samples or larger orders when it comes. But Francis is just, he's one of those friends and like part of the community that we want to highlight. We want to help each other out. And if you're looking for a coffee, I can't recommend enough these beautiful Mukarimu coffees from Kenya. So thanks. If you have any questions, shoot them my way. Shoot them Kenya's way. Shoot them Kenya's way. I call him Kenya when we started this video. Shoot them Francis's way, and we'll get you information. Anything else?
No, I'm just excited for how far we've come with these coffees. They're tasting great. I'm just excited for the future, for the future of Charles, for the future of this project that we are starting, and I'm hoping that it's going to benefit more farmers right now in Kenya. Because we are suffering, we are hurting, and
it's a hard time.
It's a hard time for our farmers. They want to get involved in coffee, they want to do coffee, but they feel like they are disenfranchised by the system itself. So this probably might be the beginning of something that's going to change that. And
what's cool too, I should say, like if you're looking for a coffee, there's pretty much something for everyone on the table. Like this AA is probably going to have a higher price point because it's a premium bean, but that acidity and just like engaging with flavor notes and customers, this has got specialty all over it. That AB is something that light, medium, dark, anyone's going to love this coffee. It's got so much character. The C is going to be affordable. It's going to blend well compared to the others. It's not going to dominate, but it's going to complement. And then again, the PB is just characteristic and fun, and again, specialty kind of engagement. So there's something on the table, and there's going to be different price points so that everyone can kind of experiment and find a use for Kenyan coffee. You know, sometimes Kenya gets overlooked just because there's so many Ethiopian coffees on the market,
but I think
these are worth a try.
You cannot beat our aroma. So the C might be able to make a blend coffee that has great aromas. So that's the beauty of it. And
there's nothing wrong with that C. It's just when you put it next to the AA, you're like, these are two different coffees.
It's like amazing. Putting a professional next to an amateur.
What are you saying? What are you saying? All right, that's enough. We're going to start fighting here pretty soon. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Hey, everyone, real quick shout out. Adam, Kenya. Adam, Kenya. All right, retake. America, Francis.
All right.